I'm going to show you 3 beautiful looking protein pancakes that are all equally delicious and easy to make. Let's start with the first pancake recipe that I call Big Boys. For that, set a bowl on a scale and add in 60 grams of oat flour. Oat flour can be made very easily by yourself by adding 60 grams of oats into a blender and blending it for about 30 to 45 seconds on high until it turns into a fine powder. If you want, you can also make a bigger batch and store the rest in an airtight container. Next is 1 scoop or 30 grams of whey protein powder. I personally use vanilla tasting powder most of the time, but you could also go for strawberry or another fruit flavored powder. Protein powder is a great way to add different kinds of flavor. Next, add a sweetener. I go for erythritol. 25 grams will go into the bowl. Then add 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and lastly a small pinch of salt just for flavor. Now whisk everything together to ensure even distribution, especially with the baking powder. Before moving on with the recipe, this is a good moment to start preheating a large non-stick pan to medium heat and adding a bit of oil so we can immediately start making pancakes. So in a second bowl, I will now add a ripe banana and smash it with a fork. The banana will not only add flavor but also make the pancakes moist, which will be necessary since I'm using whey protein powder that tends to become dry. Once it has turned into a mush like this, I will add plain skyr or alternatively non-fat Greek yogurt. Both have incredible macros. Place it on a scale and now scoop out 50 grams and add it to the bowl. Next is 100 grams of egg whites that will help bind everything, and add another 10 grams of protein. If you don't have egg whites, however, you can always go for whole eggs. 100 grams of egg whites would be 2 eggs, however, they will add 100 extra calories. The yolk is not really needed because the banana will add more than enough moisture, so if you can, stick to whites only. I will mix this for a couple of seconds and then add it to the bowl of dry ingredients. I will also add in 5 grams of vanilla extract, but this is optional. The reason I preheated the pan is that as the liquid comes in contact with the baking powder, it will immediately start reacting and create bubbles. So I will quickly whisk everything until it has a thick consistency and then go immediately to my pan and add in 2 servings with my ladle. You can make smaller ones or even 1 gigantic pancake to save time. That's up to you. Close the lid and let it cook for 45 to 60 seconds. After about a minute, you will see small holes in the surface from the popping bubbles. That is the baking powder reacting and trying to escape, and it's also the sign that it's time to flip. The pancakes should have a beautiful golden brown color. Close the lid again and let them cook for another minute or so and then remove them from the pan. I personally like to flip them exactly once. This recipe yields roughly 4 to 5 pancakes that smell and taste absolutely incredible. The entire recipe comes in at 563 calories, 73 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat and 45 grams of protein. The next recipe I call spicy pancakes. I will set a bowl on a scale and add in 30 grams of regular all-purpose flour. The nutty flavor of oat flour doesn't really fit this recipe. Then I will add 1 scoop or 30 grams of vanilla whey protein powder and 10 grams of sweetener, again erythritol. Now we'll add 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of cinnamon, half a teaspoon or 1 gram of ginger, and quarter teaspoon or half a gram of nutmeg. Then add half a teaspoon of baking powder and a pinch of salt. Whisk this together and don't forget to preheat the pan with a bit of oil. You can also use a brush if you can't find a spray. Just drop 2 grams of oil and spread it around. Now, place a second bowl on the scale and add a 100 grams of canned pumpkin. Here's a small grocery hack. If you can't find canned pumpkin, check out the baby food section in the grocery store. You will most likely find small 1-serving glasses filled with pureed pumpkin, and that's basically the exact same thing. So check that out next time. For this recipe, I will add in 1 whole egg and 50 grams of egg whites. Whisk it until combined before adding it to the dry ingredients. This time you need to be a bit more careful to not overmix the batter. The faster you mix it, the more gluten the flour will develop, resulting in a more dense pancake. Once it has a thick and creamy consistency, I will go to my preheated pan and again add 2 scoops of batter, close the lid and let it cook for 60 seconds. Flip them once you see the bubbles in the surface and then remove them from the pan. This recipe will yield about 4 medium-sized pancakes that have such a beautiful color. Just look at them. All 4 pancakes come in at 386 calories, 39 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat and 35 grams of protein. For the last recipe, we will make the fluffiest pancakes ever. Place a bowl on a scale and add in 25 grams of all-purpose flour, followed up by 10 grams of coconut flour. This will not only help retain moisture, but also add a bit of extra fiber and coconut flavor. Then add half a scoop of 15 grams of vanilla whey protein powder. Next, add 5 grams of sugar. Yes, sugar. The reason is that sugar prevents the formation of gluten and will make the pancakes even fluffier. Adding 5 grams will only add about 20 calories, so it's not a big deal. Then add half a teaspoon of baking powder and this time also a quarter teaspoon of baking soda. This will help add more flavor by aiding the browning process. Add a small pinch of salt and whisk everything until well combined. Don't forget to preheat a non-stick pan with a touch of oil. Now you will need 2 separate bowls for this. What I'm going to do is crack an egg and separate the yolk from the whites. I will show you why in a second. Once the eggs are separated, place the bowl with the yolk on a scale and add 100 grams of buttermilk. Buttermilk is very low in calories because it has only 1% fat and will add a bit of tang to the batter. Whisk it and set it aside. Now for the egg whites, you will need an electric hand mixer. Beat the egg whites for about a minute or so until they slowly but surely turn completely stiff. You know you have beaten them enough when you can turn the plate without the eggs falling off. Now add the egg yolk first to the dry ingredients and carefully whisk the batter until it is combined. Don't overmix the batter or it won't be as fluffy. Once it is mixed, add in the egg whites and carefully fold them into the batter. It should look like a cloud at this point, and this is exactly what we want to minimize the gluten. The cooking process will be exactly the same. Add a few scoops of batter to the pan, close the lid for a minute, then flip the pancakes, and after another minute, remove them from the pan. This recipe will yield 3 to 4 pancakes that look absolutely amazing. These fluffy ones come in at 330 calories, 33 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat, and 24 grams of protein. If you like this recipe, you need to check out my newly released cookbook that will help you lose weight and build muscle. Over 150 recipes are already in this book. Everything from breakfast to lunch to dessert, and the best part is that you will receive every recipe update for free once you've purchased the book. It's a once-in-a-lifetime investment into your health. Link is in the description.